This week on WestfordCAT News, board members view the numbers. The school committee gets a lesson in finance.
So it's a very, as all of you know and understand, a very difficult revenue year. Just the hotels and meals use tax in this town is down over $500,000.
And two competitors discover what they have in common while vying for the title of Last Skier Standing. I'm Joyce Polino Crane. Stay with us. WestfordCAT News is next. WestfordCAT board members Christy Bates and Jack Wang appeared before the Select Board on February 23rd for the station's annual review of its finances. Sarah Fletcher, the newly appointed executive director, kicked off the presentation with praise for the station's board, its members, its volunteers, and the staff. As treasurer, Wang keeps an eye on both short and long-term investments.
So, as Sarah said, to offset some of our gradually decreasing subscriber revenue, the board, and along with the fantastic task force, along with great efforts by Sarah, has undertaken increased fundraising and grant writing. Not something that WestfordCAT has really done a lot of in the past, and it is a skill that we do need to continue to develop. But the early indications are that we're getting really good results, so we're really happy with that.
Select Board Chair Andrea Perriner-Sweet praised the Community Access Station employees for their commitment to the community, noting that the station unites residents through its channels of communication.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you, to your board, to everybody who has worked so hard this past year at WestfordCAT. You guys have been absolutely instrumental and integral into keeping the community informed, in showing all of our meetings, being there, and we are just so grateful for all of the hard work and all of the time and effort that all of you have put in. So I would like to thank all of you for doing that. I would also like to say this is how pleased I am and happy to hear this report, because I think about where we were a year ago and some of the concerns that were being raised then, and not only financially, but administratively and programmatically, and to see how far you have all come in a year is just incredibly gratifying, and not only for us, but I am sure even more so for you folks. Really kudos to all of you for just a great year and a great achievement.
To watch the entire Select Board meeting, visit westfordcat.org. This week's school committee presentation was coined School Finance 101. Created by Superintendent Bill Olsen, it explained how operations at a school system are funded. During the meeting, Olsen took a few follow-up questions from viewers at that February 22nd meeting.
How is the state accounting for COVID-related changes in enrollment impacting our state aid this year?
Great question. The state basically has a hold harmless provision. They understand succinctly that school systems have lost many students to either homeschooling, although those are not counted on our student rolls because of the homeschooling, or have gone to private schools. And so now keeping in mind, the remote students are counted in our school system. But enrollments in general are down because of the COVID pandemic. The state recognizes that and is basically holding what's called holding the Chapter 78 harmless, not showing a precipitous decline for any community in state aid? That is a great question.
All right. Second question, how does the school budget appropriation percent increase compared to other town departments in nearby districts? Now, that question showed up, and then Ms. Almeida actually was able to post a link in the chat to the town's budget as well, too. So that might help, but if you can talk to that question.
Chris, will you repeat that? How does it compare to other school districts?
Well, to other town departments and nearby districts.
Okay, other town departments. I can't tell you how it compares with other school districts because they all have their own fiscal, parameters. They all have perhaps a different service model to students, assuming it was a different, a normal school year. None of the other town departments are really funded at any higher than the 1.4. In fact, some I think probably less. So it's a very, very, as all of you know and understand, a very difficult revenue year. Just the hotels and meals use tax in this town is down over $500,000 from prior years. So if that's just an indicator, because no one was eating in restaurants, no one was occupying any of the hotels. And so another great question.
Olsen said he will follow up with part 2 of the presentation when he turns the spotlight on the expenses of school operations. The date of this meeting has not yet been announced. We bring you an update on the Westford Academy teacher accused of criminal harassment and identity fraud. Michael Colson was scheduled to be arraigned on February 24th in Erie District Court. However, at the request of his lawyer, Lisa McKinney, the hearing has been postponed until March 23rd. When reached by phone earlier this month, McKinney said Mr. Colson expects to vigorously challenge the allegations against him when the case is taken up in court. He has not been arraigned, and he is entitled to the presumption of innocence unless or until a judge or jury has found him guilty. Joanne Chaffee, who was an unsuccessful candidate last year for school committee, accused Colson of creating false social media profiles and using them to harass her. We'll continue to follow this story for you, Westford. Hal Schreiber, a 20-year volunteer at the Cameron Senior Center, helping seniors prepare and file their income tax returns, was recognized on February 17th by State Representative James Arcero and State Senator Edward Kennedy for his many contributions to the community.
Well, it's my honor and privilege to be here today. Hal Schreiber has been certainly personifies public service. I remember meeting you for the first time back in 1997.
Yeah.
When I had my first job in politics working for Representative Jeff Hall.
Oh.
And I would say the thing that most individuals knew about Hal is he was thorough. And we used to have conversations quite a bit about Neswick at the time, if you recall. And I was working for the representative, and you were working as a member of the Board of Selectmen to improve things there and to find solutions for the town. But since then, you've really dedicated your life to public service, helping others. I can't tell you in the time that I've been in office and before when I worked for the senator and the representative, that we would always direct people towards the Westford Council on Aging for the tax preparation you used to do for folks and the work that you helped them. And I can't tell you how many seniors in Westford, their anxiety level's down, they feel a little bit better, and they know they're in good hands. And I know Henry McDowell wanted to make sure that I gave you a shout out today too. I talked to him yesterday, and he said if I give it to Hal and I get my taxes to Hal, I know things are going to be okay. And that's quite an endorsement for the work that you've done. So Jennifer and members of the Council on Aging wanted to honor the service that you've done, not just here at the Council on Aging and for the senior population, but also for the town of Westford. Is so many boards and commissions you sat on, and especially the member of the Board of Selectmen then, but the Select Board now. And what we did was we put forward a resolution by the House and the Senate. It's offered by myself and Senator Ed Kennedy, who represents Westford as well. And I'm gonna read it for the audience at home in the town of Westford, congratulating and recognizing Hal Schreiber for his many years of dedicated service to the town of Westford, whereas the esteemed Hal Schreiber has dedicated his life to the service of the citizens of town of Westford, and most especially his 20 years of selfless service to the seniors of Westford in the preparation of their federal and state income tax filings. Hal Schreiber is a former member of the Westford Board of Selectmen, has served on the Westford Capital Outlay Committee, Finance Committee, Board of Assessors, served on the Board of Directors, and as treasurer of the Northeast Solid Waste Committee, which I alluded to, Neswick, and is the past president of the Selectmen's Association of Middlesex County, and 7-year member of the County Expenditure Board. Hal is a retired federal employee, having served as a deputy director of a multi-service international office, and is a retired United States Air Force colonel, being honorably discharged as a deputy mobilization augmentee to general in charge. And whereas Hal Schreiber is married to Lonnie Schreiber, and together raised their 2 sons, Todd and Jeffrey, and are the proud grandparents to 4 grandchildren. There it be resolved that the Massachusetts House of Representatives joins the family, friends, and citizens of Westford in recognizing Hal Schreiber for his many contributions to his nation, his state, his county, and especially his town of Westford. Signed by the Clerk of the House, Steve James, State Representative Jim Arciero, and State Senator Ed Kennedy.
Well, thank
Congratulations. Congratulations, Hal.
Thank you.
Not only did Schreiber serve on the Select Board, but he also served on the Finance Committee, the Capital Outlay Committee, and a long list of other organizations and entities. Visit WestfordCATnews.org for more information. And congratulations, Hal. In an effort to bring vaccine doses of the pandemic-fighting COVID virus to this region, Lowell General Hospital spruced a massive empty building on Pawtucket Boulevard and announced on February 15th that appointments were available for the vaccine. Appointments filled quickly, and as of today, February 25th, there are no more openings for the first batch of the vaccine. But Will Courtney, Public Relations Manager for Lowell General Hospital and Circle Health, remains optimistic.
It's really a place where we started with 400 people vaccinated every day, kind of a continuation of what we were doing at the hospital for employees and some of those phase 1 first responders and things. But it offers the opportunity to scale up. So we've gone from 400 in the first week every day to we did 800 on Monday, and we're hoping to do 800 every day. And our leaders really believe it has the capacity to go up as high as 5,000 a day if the availability of the vaccine is there and the demand is there. They can really build this thing out as these phases open up.
The address for the vaccination center is Cross River Center 1001, Pawtucket Boulevard East in Lowell. To see if more vaccine has been delivered to Lowell General Hospital and any appointments have opened, visit lowellgeneralvaccine.com. File this in the small world category. A skiing competition on Black Mountain in Jackson, New Hampshire led to a friendship between Westford Academy alumnus Ben Eck and Westford resident Jeremy Arnold. Complete strangers to each other, Eck and Arnold discovered they had 1 or 2 things in common besides a ski competition. They are both connected to the town of Westford. Eck, 28, graduated from Westford Academy in 2011. Arnold, age 40, moved to Westford about 6 years ago with his family. Arnold serves as vice president of the U.S. Ski Mountaineering Association. The competition required competitors to ski down the mountain and race back up wearing specialized skis for this alpine challenge. Each round-trip lap took about 40 minutes, allowing the competitors to nap for 15 to 20 minutes and to get a bite to eat. Eck and Arnold began on Friday, February 6th, and continued their ascent and descent until Monday night, February 9th, when Arnold called it quits at 60 laps, and Eck did one more to win with 61 laps. The competition had begun with about 80 competitors. When asked what they were thinking while going up and down the mountain. Here's what Eck said.
I was definitely like not intending to, go the whole time or whatever. It was more like, just setting like personal goals, like, 20 laps would be the most vertical feat I've ever done in a day. And then 24 hours is like a good goal. And then 29 laps would be like a Mount Everest of vertical.
Yeah, that's what I thought of when you sent me this. I thought of climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah, so we did basically 2 Everests worth of climbing plus a little bit. So I was trying to liken like the amount of skiing we did is basically like skiing from the race venue back to Westford over Mount Everest twice. If you just ignore all the, the elevation problems that would come with that. But
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think after, once we got to that point and, done like 30 some laps, it was kind of down to a few people. And then it was just kind of like, well, like, let's see how much further I can go and kind of taking it one lap at a time.
At some point, the mind usually wins, right? I don't think I could have continued physically. Like I was probably in the same state from, hour 30 to hour 60 physically, but, sometimes the mind wins.
To watch the entire Main Street interview, visit WestfordCAT.org. That's it for now, Westford. This is Joyce Polino Crane, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.